Okay everybody, thanks for watching this video, and it's about a recent training event I did at Aldwyn Primary School. Here in the UK we call them inset training days. I'm not sure what you call them anywhere else, but it's just a training day for teachers. And what we're going to cover in this training day was Google Classroom and Google Sites. Okay, my name is John Goodyear. I'm a level 2 Google certified educator, and I've been working with Google Apps for about 10 years and G Suite for Education for about 4 now. And I've installed it and got it running in a number of schools, and it's been quite successful. Okay, let's move on. Okay, a smart move, G Suite for Education. Aldwyn Primary School has been using G Suite for Education now for about a year, and to be honest with you, they've embraced it really well. They've moved on tremendously with it, and staff have really been on side. I think that's why it's been such a success. And certainly the children from year 3 up to year 6 are using it, and we believe we've given them a massive head start in their education, not just in the way that they're using cloud computing, but the way they can take those skills on to high school, onto college or university. Okay, so moving on and moving up. So currently the way we're using G Suite for Education is we're using Gmail. Obviously everybody uses it. We use a lot of Google Drive. We use nearly all the Google Apps suite, certainly the most common ones: documents, slides, spreadsheets. We are sharing and doing collaborations, so students and teachers are sharing documents in the cloud, and both students and staff are accessing work from home. And one of the big moves is that staff are now beginning to share all their planning and all their marking on Google Drive. So in the bin goes the pen drives. The fact that they can't access stuff at home has gone out of the window. They can access all their resources, all their marking, all their planning from anywhere now on whatever device they choose, providing they've got an internet connection. Okay, so where do we want to get to? What do we want to introduce? So the whole idea of this training day was to introduce Google Classroom. Amazingly, I've been in the computer suite, and staff have been coming in with their different year groups, logging onto Google. Fantastic, because that is a really great achievement for everybody. And what they've been doing is they've been getting students to create presentations, or they've been getting students to create documents, and then they've been asking the students to share those documents or those presentations or those spreadsheets with the teacher, so as the teacher can mark them. Great, because that's an ideal place to start to introduce Classroom, because Classroom will automatically take care of all that sharing and offer a million more features as well. The other thing we wanted to introduce in this training session was a new Google Sites, because we've got big plans for Google Sites, and as you'll see later on, when I show you the Anglo-Saxon project they're doing, the topic they're doing at the moment, then you really see how it comes together. We also wanted to do some collaborative web building as well. There is some plans for starting up an IT club, and one of the things we want to do on there is to do some Minecraft. And the idea is that the children have asked to build a website to put on tips and information about Minecraft. So ideal time to start to introduce new Google Sites. And of course, bringing all this together and being able to showcase and present your work easily to the world, the first stage is of project-based learning. And of course, we want children and staff to continue to work from home. So what was covered on the inset day? Well, all of this. I won't go through it all, but it was quite intensive. We started at something like 8:45. We finished at about 2:30. We had a couple of breaks and a break for lunch, but all of this was covered, and it went very, very well indeed. The reason why it went so well is because the staff have already been using Google for quite a while, so they're really au fait with the way it works. So introducing Classroom and introducing new Google Sites was quite easy to do. So what did staff have to say at the end of the training? They really liked Google Classroom. I mean, you could see its benefits straight away, particularly in the way that it shared documents for them. And some of the things they said to me right off the cuff was, well, you can do so much with it. And the idea of having everything in one place, and you can see the progress of each child. And of course, you've got total control of what children are doing. And the last comment, really important, because he said most importantly, it's safe. Because as a teacher, you can control what you want children to see, do, and use, which is absolutely true of Google Classroom, as you'll see in a minute. Right, so let's hop off. Let's go and get out of this presentation, and let's go and have a look at a live classroom. Just got to say though that this is not a presentation. This is not a video about how to set up and how to configure and get Google Classroom working. It's not that. This is a video about how we're going to put Google Classroom to use. There's lots of videos on YouTube, really good videos people have done explaining all the ins and outs of Classroom and how to get it up and running and add your students. This video is not about that. This video is more based on how a school would use it. So let me hop off there. Let me hop off to another tab. And straight away, we're on Google Classroom. Google Classroom is split up into 3 tabs. So we've got the stream, we've got the students, and we've got the about. So I'm going to quickly just take you through the about. This classroom is dedicated to Anglo-Saxons. And as I explained on the inset day, you don't necessarily have to have a classroom just for Anglo-Saxons. You could be all sorts of different subjects. This happened to be quite a big topic they're doing this term, so we've set the classroom up just for that. It's split up into a number of different sections. So at the top here, we've got the description of the classroom, what the room where it might be held. If you're a university or a college, that might be quite important. For our primary school, we're just saying it's going to be taught in the classroom, the IT suite, and you can complete it at home. Further down is one of the important things you can do with Classroom, because now you can add all the resources that you want children to use. And we've added here, we've added some websites and we've added some videos, and we've got another video in here as well. So we've added our websites and we've added our videos. This is really handy because it's a resource page that children can use whenever they like. So if they need to find out some information or they need to watch a video, you can safely select on this section and include all the videos you want them to watch, or the websites that you might want them to visit. Doesn't stop them using their search skills to find information themselves, but it is a good start. Let's hop across to students. So this is the teacher's view of Classroom, and we can see the students that are actually been invited, and they're just 2 test students because this was just for the inset day. One of the interesting things is that you can now invite guardians, so you can invite parents and guardians, so you can put their email addresses in there and there will be emailed updates of what their particular child are up to and what they're doing. Let's look at the stream, because the stream is the important thing. The stream is where you put all the work that you want children to do. What we decided to do on this particular project, on this particular topic, to make it more interesting, we wanted children to create a website, and we wanted children to create a presentation. Now the website is here. So this is the information of what we want children to do when they create a website. And what we've done to make this a lot more interesting is we've pretended that the school have a museum, and it says to children that you've been hired by Aldwyn Museum to build a website to inform visitors all about a new Anglo-Saxon exhibition that will open shortly. And it goes on to say that you're going to start with a blank website and you've got to include the following pages, and we've included here the pages that we want them to add, and we've included a description of what we want those pages to be about. Brilliant, because now they're really engaged. It's almost like they're working for a real museum. So as well as learning about Anglo-Saxons, and they're now at the end of, say, 7 weeks of bristling with information about Anglo-Saxons, they can now take all that information, all that knowledge, and they can create a website for a fictitious museum. Okay, let's pop down, because this is another really exciting way to work. Again, we've created a scenario where you are working for a museum and you've been given a task of creating a public touchscreen display about Anglo-Saxon burial site Sutton Hoo. And it says that you need to finish the presentation, and it will be available on both touchscreen and tablets, and you need to be able to set it up so that you can navigate all the slides. What we've done here, and what we took quite a lot of time explaining on the inset day, was about templates. And let me open this template for you. This is a template of the touchscreen presentation that we want children to complete. All we've done are 2 slides. The rest of the slides are blank, and it's completely up to the children what they put on these. But what we want them to do is we want them to link each slide into a tab, so when you click or touch the tab, it takes you to the relevant slide. So you could display this on a touch screen, or you could display it on a tablet. Remember this, because in a minute you're going to see a finished one, and you're going to see the finished one incorporated in a website. Okay, the next thing we did was quick 5 questions about Anglo-Saxons. That was done with Google Forms, so that's a self-answering quiz done in Google Forms. And the next thing was the main worksheet. This is the main worksheet we want children to complete, and it gives you some information about what you need to do. And as you can see from this side, we've got 1 done and 1 not done. And let me just open up this template, because again, this is a template. One of the great things about using templates, let me just make the screen a little bit bigger for you. One of the great things about using templates is you can direct children to exactly what you want them to do. And this is the Anglo-Saxon template. This is the main worksheet we want them to complete in classroom. It starts off really easily. We start off by just asking children to give me 5 quick bullet points about Anglo-Saxons. And what we've done is we've included a web link so they can go and look at a website. But it's up to them if they want to go and research it themselves and they want to find the information by themselves. There's nothing to stop them doing that, and we would encourage them to do it. But for ease, we've included a website that they can look at. Further down, it gets a little bit more tricky, because now we've asked them to watch a video, and we've included the link to the video. And then we've asked some just slightly more detailed questions on this side, and we want the answers here in these boxes. So again, very directed. Can't go wrong with the questions, can't go wrong with where you want them to put the answers. We don't want book writing, we just want, 3 or 4 lines of, for example, where does the term Anglo-Saxon come from? So they can just write the answer in the box on the side. This question down here, again, a bit more tricky, because we're now talking about Anglo-Saxon craftsmen. And we're talking about some of the stunningly beautiful artwork they left behind, particularly some of the stuff that was discovered at Sutton Hoo. And we've asked them this time to put a picture. We want 3 pictures of some beautiful artwork from Anglo-Saxon times, and then we want them to put a description in here. And last on this worksheet is some creative writing. So creative writing, again, you can direct them to exactly what you want them to do. You say in this description that you are an Anglo-Saxon warrior, you're a soldier, and you've just taken part in the Battle of Hastings and you want them to tell you the story. But you want them in this story to include, oops, sorry about that, go back. You want them to include following information. So again, they need to do some research. They need to bring that information together. We provided them down here with some links to a video and a couple of websites, and we want them to write their story down here. So the story can be reasonably long, I guess, but it's got to include all the following information. That is another worksheet, another template. Templates, very, very important, I think, when using Google Classroom, because it's a brilliant way of directing children. So let's hop back to our classroom and let's take a look at, say, one of these. So I can now click on those that are done and those that are not done. So let's click on Test Student 2. This is the template. This is the main template that we've asked them to do. And let me just hop over, take it a bit bigger. As you can see, I've already put some comments in on the side. And as you can see, the template is no longer blank. It's now started to be filled a little bit. So they started to answer the questions, 5 quick bullet points, some bits of information down here. And they've started to fill this one in, Anglo-Saxon craftsman. And I put a comment up here, great pictures and interesting facts. And they put in their pictures and the description. The only thing we haven't done is the creative writing, and this template is slightly different to the one I've just showed you. Talks about a different battle. I did make a change there, and I put a comment in there, as you can see. You know, why has this not been done? So, as you can see, that's the way we use templates. But you may ask yourself, how do we pull all this together? How can we pull all this together in one place and let the world see just how good your school is and just how far ahead you are in the way that you're allowing children to work? Simple, create a website. I'm going to show you now the fictitious website that we did for the Aldwyn Museum. This has been done on the new Google Sites. It is fantastically easy to use, but it allows you to produce some really good looking websites. When we did the inset day, and if you go and look at my Google Plus page, you'll see some photographs from that inset day. When the teachers sat down and started to use this, they were hooked. I had one teacher create very quickly a 3-page website about yoga for children. And we had a couple of teachers start to put together a presentation and a website for their Stone Age topic that they're doing with year 3 and 4, and became massively engaged in doing this. It really is addictive. And this is the website we put together to show off the work, the knowledge we've got, and also to advertise our fictitious museum. If you remember back on our description, you've been employed by Aldwyn Museum to build a website to advertise the forthcoming Anglo-Saxon exhibition. And it starts off here with a real lie. It says here that we're proud to announce our forthcoming Anglo-Saxon exhibition due to open in March 2017. And it says here we actually got some Sutton Hoo treasure on loan from the British Museum. What a lie. But there you go. The children, I guess, will enjoy putting this website together and lying as well. Do you remember the blank presentation that I showed you? The template? Here's a completed one put into the site. And if I tap here, we've now got all our tabs filled. So we could quite easily have put a QR code underneath here. So if you've got a tablet or you've got a mobile phone, you could have scanned in the QR code and be taken to a shared version of this. But what it does now is it takes us to different slides, different information about Sutton Hoo. There's the helmet. So you can imagine this running in a museum, running on a touch screen. I mean, we've got very limited slides in this. We've only got about, I think it's 5 slides, but you could certainly add more. You could certainly allow children to work in groups and let them all work on a different slide from the template, but I think you get the idea of just how powerful this is. And even underneath, we've got our opening times and we've got a map on how to find the museum. So let's quickly go through the other tabs. The other tabs he asked them to do was arrival, how we lived, the last king, Sutton Hoo, and an about tab. And this is the arrival of the Anglo-Saxons. It tells roughly the date they arrived, bits of information, where they came from, where they settled down. We've got a tab on how we lived. So we did farming, tools and metalwork, and weapons. It's a bit lacking probably this page because we could have done a little bit more on Anglo-Saxon villages or on farming, perhaps a bit more on farming, but you get the idea what can be done. And we've got the last king. This is the last Saxon king, Harold, and the Battle of Hastings in 1066. So there's bits of information at the top there. And then we put a video in, the battle for the English crown. It's quite a good video, actually, very, very informative. But I've got to say, while I've been putting this together and doing some research about Anglo-Saxons, I was absolutely fascinated by the whole thing. So it got me engaged as well. But I think you get the idea. I think this page could have done a little bit more content on it. But again, you know, it's okay. It puts a message across. And our final page is, apart from the about, it's a Sutton Hoo burial ground. It tells you about the rough date where this king was buried. It tells you how the grave was woken again in 1939. And that is in itself, it's an absolutely fascinating story. The burial ship that was found. And then we've got two quite long videos. I think they're about 15 minutes each of these videos, but it does go on to explain about Sutton Hoo, what it was all about and what was found there. The final page on the site is about, and the about page actually tells you that this is an absolute whopping lie, and there is no such thing as Aldwyn Museum, and we're not having any treasure from the British Museum at all. And it just goes on to explain on this side here that it was built in conjunction with the Anglo-Saxon topic, and it is just basically about Anglo-Saxons and a fictitious museum. And just down at the bottom, we've just got some information about what we're doing, how we feel that we are giving children a massive head start in the way they're working. We're giving them skills for the future, skills they're going to take on to high school, onto college and university. And we are building them for the future. And we think we are the leader in Tameside. Tameside is a local educational authority, for those who don't know, if you're watching this abroad. And we think that we're possibly the leaders in Greater Manchester as far as primary schools are concerned. And it does say here that we believe, in this section here, that we're giving children a real big head start. So that's it. It's a very interesting inset day. Staff were absolutely bowled over by Google Classroom and by the amount it will automate what they've got to do. Massive time saver. The fact that all the work is now together, they can mark it and they can keep an eye on what children are doing. And they were absolutely blown away by Google Sites. Okay, thanks for watching. I am looking for schools to work with on Google in Tameside, in Stockport, Greater Manchester area. If you're interested, take a look at my webpage or send me an email and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching this video.